Hi folks, welcome back to We the People. I'm Dave Gallus, your host. Before we get started on this show, I want to remind you that 3A Research is doing clinical studies on plaque psoriasis. You'll be compensated for your time. They still have a couple spots open for this study. Give them a call at 575-288-1646 or go to 3asites.com. They're here in Las Cruces. So today, it's part 2 with Eloy Macha, running for Las Cruces Public School District 3. Eloy, it's a pleasure to have you back again.
Dave, likewise. Appreciate the invite again.
Now, the first show we talked about your background. It's an amazing story where you're from Peru. You came to the United States. Well, you came to Mexico first. Your parents moved you to the United States. You got a degree at New Mexico State University in electrical engineering. During that time, you became a U.S. citizen because you realized how important it was for you and your family and what the potentials are in our country that you love.
Yes.
And you read in the first show your oath when you became a U.S. citizen. It's amazing, folks. So, all right. So, tell me, well, we have a short video that I'd like to play first.
Please.
And that short video, I was there, as a matter of fact, when the school board was actually discussing an issue, a policy that they were putting forward that a lot of people weren't happy with. So if our producer will run that show, then we'll see Eloy Francisco Macha in action in front of the school board. We want to get him on the other side of the DS at the school board. So we're going to run this video. We'll be right back.
Board members, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I am extremely proud of my parents and their sacrifices to come here to this country. They are from Peru. I was born in Peru. I'm a proud Peruvian. Their journey to this country was fraught, was dangerous, but they made it happen, and they made it for our future. They looked at this land of opportunity as an opening door for our future, mine and my kids and my future families. 25 years it took me to become a U.S. citizen. I'm very proud of that. My education was that of a mixture of Catholic parochial schools at the border town in Douglas, Arizona, public school system in Salt Lake City, Utah, and a proud Aggie here out of Las Cruces, out of NMSU. The emphasis out of all my education system and my background and my heritage has been around critical thinking and expanding my knowledge and being proud of who I am. I am a Mincan, I am a Peruvian, I am a mestizo, I am a Latino, and most importantly, I'm a proud American citizen. So my comments and concerns is that this particular policy is extremely dangerous. Look, my family was discriminated on when we moved over here to the United States. My mom especially. She did not speak English very well. They mocked her. She was an educator, and she fought for 20 plus years to become an educator, but she made it happen. Looking at her inspired me and my brothers to excel and become the persons that we are today. She was never a victim, and she instilled on us that we are not victims. Never looked on our race, never looked at the color of our skin, at the character of the person that we are. Please, 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 it bothers me that if this particular education policy is adopted, then, my gosh, I would not be the person that I am today. I would be judgmental of everybody by looking at the color of their skin. Dr. Jaramillo, you and the board, I would challenge you to please recognize, if you were raised under this particular policy, would you be here today? Would you be the persons that you are today? Each one of you is very successful and are here in this particular board being recognized for their successes as individuals, not because of your skin color, not because of this ABC policy. With that, I encourage the board to please dismiss this policy and focus on critical thinking for our students. Thank you for your time.
Well, folks, you got an idea of Eloy and how he handles himself at school board and what he believes we need, the direction we need for our students in school. So, Eloy, you were talking about accountability, transparency, trust in the school board. Could you elaborate on that?
No, that is correct. And Dave, thank you so much. Just to quickly kind of recap a little bit on the video, the emphasis to the school board members was around critical thinking versus critical race theory.
Now, critical thinking is where you actually think. You're not just a parrot repeating what you hear. So critical thinking takes some thought process.
That is correct. That is correct. And what was being debated at that school board meeting really kind of bothered me on a personal level. Because as an immigrant, as you had indicated, right, there's a lot of opportunities that this country has provided and will provide to all immigrants. And not just to immigrants, but all citizens, period.
Right, sure.
And it is an equal level field, if you will, equal level playing field for all of us. because all the opportunities are already afforded to us. It's really on us to make those conscious decisions and conscious actions.
So it's opportunity.
Yes.
It's not, you're not going to say what the outcome is going to be. It's, you have the opportunity to be as much as you want. Well, obviously, you, through your math skills and your desires, you became an electrical engineer.
That's
so
correct.
That's an opportunity. You're not on welfare. You didn't come to the United States to be taken care of by the government. You took that opportunity and you became what you wanted to become.
And exactly to that point, I challenged their school board members in that in my comments that day to reassess what the implication of this policy would do for our students. Each one of us is here based on everything and anything that occurred in our past, in our histories, the choices that we took, good, bad, or what have you, but we are here because of that. We are accountable for those choices. And a lot of the members are, you could, with the school board, you could say that they have been successful in their own individual endeavors.
Sure.
All great. But if they themselves, or all of us, would now be raised under this JBC policy, would we be here today? Would we be the same individuals? Would we have the same opportunities afforded to us? I disagree.
I don't think so either.
So this becomes the reason why, if you will, I threw my name into the hat as a candidate for District 3 of the Las Cruces School Board. Seeing what was happening at the school board level, and then studying a little bit more, it became very clear that a lot of meetings occurred in maybe behind closed doors.
Right, I didn't hear anything about it.
That the public was not made aware of.
Right.
And to your question about accountability, transparency, and trust, that is actually one of my first pillars of my candidacy. Accountability, transparency, and trust starts at the very top.
Now
go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, well, I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm thinking you came from a country that was somewhat socialist, I guess. So you know what happens with a country. You left the country because you didn't feel as though it was going in the direction you wanted to go in.
That is correct.
Did you ever think that maybe this was happening to our country in this particular situation with JBC? Now, JBC, you know, it's about excellence and
equity.
Equity. Well, that's another subject we got to talk about. We'll talk about in a minute. But really, what student in Doña County and Las Cruces public school system doesn't have the same opportunity? Because when I hear this, when I heard what they explained about this, that's critical race theory. They just dress it up with a different name to make it sound nice. Excellence and equity? But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But
No, you hit on a great points there, Dave. And this is where you have to kind of decouple and peel the onion around the issue and what really matters and what's impactful for the Las Cruces public school system. So just to kind of go back on accountability, transparency, and trust, those need to be instilled in our school board. Everything needs to be open to our public.
And you were saying that we didn't get notice about this policy until after it was installed. So they're not transparent.
Correct. And now we need to make them accountable. That because they are pushing forward with this, we the people need to make sure that our voice is heard.
Agreed.
And ensure that the school board understands that they do not dictate to us, that they are representatives of we the people, of us residents here in Las Cruces Public School System, and that they need to ensure that they're focusing on what's best needed for our students in this district.
Sure.
Transparency, you have to have transparency. Accountability and transparency lead to trust. At the moment, I don't trust the school board. The policies that they have been pushing over the last 3 years make you really wonder what interests are they pursuing, whether or not it's the school district, the students, or maybe an outsider.
Or maybe the unions?
I don't know. This is where we have to ask questions. Us, as parents, as members of the community, need to be asking these questions, need to be held accountable. Why this? Why that? Now, allow me, Dave, to kind of step back a little bit more on the other reasons why I'm running as a candidate for District 3. The first pillar, accountability, transparency, and trust. The second pillar is about empowering our students and preparing them for their future endeavors. The third pillar is regards to ensuring that our students are financial literate and financial independent. Our fourth pillar is pride in our country. And our fifth pillar is that of a social contract where the school district will respect family values and will not dictate to families how to raise their kids. So each one of those, let's decouple a little bit, if you don't mind, Dave, please.
Sure, absolutely.
We just talked about accountability, transparency, and trust. Empowering our students for their success. We, in our previous show last week, I mentioned to you how there's opportunities that this country can provide to us. Yep. But each one of us is now responsible to take those opportunities and do something with them for our outcomes. So whether or not I became an engineer or if I pursued some other degree, that's on me.
Sure.
The school system needs to ensure that they provide all these interesting opportunities for our students so that they can be successful in their endeavors. Mm-hmm. If that means investing in our STEM programs, if that means investing in vocational or trade school programs, mm-hmm. or other programs to ensure that those endeavors for each of our students is made available for them, sure. so that they prepare themselves for their future. Regards to financial literacy and financial independence, allow me to kind of quote a little bit of the Declaration of Independence when it talks about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Mm-hmm. In this society of ours, if we are not financially independent or have financial literacy, we won't be able to pursue our life.
No, we'll be wards of the state.
Exactly. We will have that dependency of somebody else to hold those for us. Right. And at the risk of using the word slavery, we would be slaves to yeah. others. We wouldn't yeah. have control of our destiny because of that. Right. Pride in country. Dave, I shared with you in our last show the love that I found for this country, not just when I became a citizen, but also when my kids entered the service. They took their own notes as well.
If you didn't trust our government and didn't trust our country, you would not allow your children to join the military.
That's correct.
That's pride in country.
That is correct. I'm a firm believer that the Pledge of Allegiance, the Declaration of Independence, and the Constitutions are wonderful documents.
Yes.
And they have stood up this nation, if you will, the founding principles of this nation that has withstood the last 250 years of its existence.
Many countries have followed this Constitution.
Not only that, but what's so sad is there's a lot of countries that have lived less than 250 years, and that they constantly redo their constitutions because they do not have these foundational principles mm-hmm. of respecting we the people, of respecting the will of the people. Now, what's interesting about that is our students, as they are living or graduating from high school, my question is, do they truly understand the Declaration of Independence? Do they truly understand the Constitution? Do they really understand what it means to, say the Pledge of Allegiance? I'm of the firm believer that as our students are entering high school, they need to be encouraged to really understand what it means to be a citizen of this country and to find that love for the country. Now, I'm not advocating that everybody should be enlisting in the Army. I'm not advocating that everybody must be shoved down these studies, if you will. But it's just, please be aware that we are all here because the foundations of this country allows us equal opportunity for us to pursue our happiness, mm-hmm. for us to pursue our life, for us to pursue our wishes and desires. The Constitution has that, the Declaration of Independence has that, the Bill of Rights. Dave, what a beautiful document.
I agree. I've often thought that I missed something by not being in the military. The police department was kind of like being in the military at times, but I believe that we should bring back the draft. But I would say you can either have one of two choices. You can either go into the military or you can go into the Peace Corps. And the Peace Corps' primary purpose should be to support the military, and the military should be the primary concern to protect the Peace Corps. So this show has gone very, very fast. We're just about at the end. So would you like to? Oh, okay. We're going to break. I'm sorry. We're taking a break. We'll be back after a short break. Remember, 3A Research. They still have some openings for the plaque psoriasis study. Give them a call at 575-288-1646, 3asites.com, sites.com. We'll be back after a short break. Hi folks, I'm Dave Gallus. This is your 3A Research Minute. We're here with CEO Michael Raucci of 3A Research here in Las Cruces. Michael, could you tell me the procedure of a trial?
Sure, Dave. A participant will come to our office to see if they qualify for a study. Once they qualify for a study, they will be asked to do evaluations throughout the course of a 3-month period or longer, and they'll come in periodically to see their progress and make sure they're safe and they're okay.
Michael, could you tell us the location here in Las Cruces? Where is that?
We are located in the heart of Las Cruces, 530 North Telshore Boulevard, Suite B. We have 2 locations in El Paso, and we've done so well, we had to extend ourselves here to this great community. So far, Las Cruces has been very responsive, and we love Las Cruces, so we're excited to be here.
Thanks, Michael. I hope the folks take advantage of this opportunity. That's been your 3A Research Minute here in Las Cruces. See you next time.
If your loved one has passed away due to COVID-19, pay close attention to this message. You could be entitled to a death benefit of over $300,000. The U.S. government has set up a fund to pay families relief if they've lost a loved one due to COVID-19. The compensation includes a death benefit and lost wages benefit. Time is limited, so we urge you to make a free phone call right now. There's no cost to you for this claim. That's 866-372-3669.
Hi, I'm Ray Bamberg with Here on Earth. I would like to invite you for a free hearing evaluation to our office. We've been here in southern New Mexico for 34 years helping people hear better.
Do you suffer from rashes, dryness, flakiness, and thickness to the skin? 3A Research is conducting a trial of an investigational drug on plaque psoriasis. Subjects must be 18 years of age or older. This is an 8-week study. We will compensate you for your time and travel up to $225.
Enrolling participants now in Las Cruces. Contact our office at 575-288-1646 or visit our Facebook page at 3A Research or our website 3asites.com.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock-bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
Hi, folks. Welcome back to We the People. I'm Dave Gallus, your host. We're here again with Eloy Macha from Peru. He came all the way from Peru just to run for the Las Cruces City School Board, District 3. Eloy, we were talking about the social contract and families. So could you elaborate on that?
No, Dave, great question. So that's the 5th pillar of the campaign, is the school board needs to establish a social contract and really codify a policy in which they will respect family values and family morals. What's interesting to see with this particular policy, the JBC policy that has been pushed, if you will, is it tries to say that, hey, there's something about equal outcomes for all families. But that's very disrespectful of the family values and the family morals that each family has. Las Cruces is a very diverse community. That is one of the beautiful aspects and interesting aspects of New Mexico. It's very diverse, it's very unique. Las Cruces is not San Francisco. Las Cruces is not New York. Las Cruces is not Dallas, it's not Denver. Las Cruces is its own. And with that, we have to respect and we have to enshrine and cherish the traditions, the family values, the family morals of Las Cruces, the residents of Las Cruces. This JBC policy, again, kind of, in my mind, it steps a line, a sacred line, where now you have school administrators, or in this case, the school board, dictating to families how their kids should act, how their kids should, what values they now need to have. And that's wrong. So I'm a firm believer that the school board needs to now embrace a policy that distinctly clarifies that the school board will only focus on educational matters, and they will not touch family values or family moral aspects that belong at the family.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's funny because we talked about financial independence. Why aren't the students being taught how to manage money?
Exactly.
I go to a McDonald's, and if I give them extra change to make an even amount of money so I'll get maybe a dollar bill back instead of change, when you do that, they go into shock. It's like if they can't hit that computer, they have to call the manager, and maybe the manager will have to call corporate to find out how to do this. It's silly, but if they're talking about this critical race theory, and let's call it for what it is, and that's exactly what it is, it's critical race theory, that really is separating our students from each other. They're pointing a finger and saying, you're biased, or you're oppressive, or just because your skin color. This is racism in reverse.
It's segregation, Dave.
They're hurting our children. Our children, if left alone, will integrate. They don't see color.
They don't.
So this idea of JBC, even though you dress it up with a nice name, equity and excellence, it's critical race theory. So we should teach our children to be inclusive and help each other, like you did when you were coming through, when you were actually teaching English as a second language after being an immigrant yourself. And you really respect our government. You respect your oath that you took to become a U.S. citizen. You're even, I wouldn't say sacrificing your children, but you're trusting our government to protect your children as they join the military.
Yeah, to do our service.
Sure.
Now, all of us are called to do our service to this country. So what's interesting, though, about the JBC policy, and actually some of the recent policies that this school board here in Las Cruces has pushed for, is what is the motivation? And are they really representing what came or where these policies came from, I mean, in a correct manner?
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing a little bit of research on this. Let's start with the Ibáñez Martinez versus State of New Mexico ruling.
Yahtzee versus Yahtzee Martinez versus the state of New Mexico, yes.
That is correct. So that particular policy, ruling, actually was very specific in calling out that the state of New Mexico has an interesting challenge in ensuring that adequate resources are made available to all of our students.
Right.
So let's step back a little bit. What does that mean? This ruling actually focused on the technology aspect of those resources. Do our students have high-speed internet, broadband internet? Do they have access to technology? So recognizing, and all of us I think kind of do recognize, New Mexico is a very interesting state. There's a lot of challenges. We are rural, we are very dispersed, but the technology infrastructure is something that we may need to revisit and ensure that we focus our efforts there so that we do provide that equal level field so that we can provide those opportunities.
Right.
So with that ruling, though, it has been misconstrued. It has been misrepresented to now say, hey, it's all about equity. So Dave, do you understand the difference between equity and equal opportunities?
It can be quite confusing. So why don't you elaborate on that?
So this is an interesting play on word, right? Equity, if you look at the definition, if you will, it talks about fairness. Well,
right.
Equal opportunities also talks about fairness, but the way that it's been twisted in that, hey, we're now looking for equal outcomes. And that's what equity is about, equal outcomes versus ensuring that there's an equal opportunity.
Well, how can you guarantee an equal outcome?
You cannot, and that's the whole point. So this is what's interesting about the ethnic study policies that have been pushed prior to this JBC policy, mm-hmm. and the JBC policy now, pushing even further some of these quote ethnic study policies. You really are looking at critical race theory, where everything now is being seen through the lens of your skin color, of where your ethnicity is, and removing, if you will, opportunities from you. That's wrong. We're going to be doing a disservice to our students and not really encouraging them to pursue what they're meant to do, what it is their desires, what is their dreams. Instead, we're going to look at them and, you're from Mexico, you need a siesta.
Yeah.
Oh, you're from this other country, you must this. It's stereotypical.
Yeah.
And that's wrong. Yeah. You clearly outlined it earlier. Kids, when they're born, they do not see color. Kids, when they're born and are growing up, they do not see color.
Right.
And we just need to encourage our kids, and this goes back to the family, to encourage them that, hey, let's go ahead and help each other, make that positive impact. But the school board should not meddle in that. The school board needs to ensure that they are preparing our kids for the future. The school board needs to ensure that our kids understand the foundations of this country. The school board needs to be transparent and accountable to our parents. The school board needs to invite and have an open conversation. Instead of dictating down to the parents and the community, the school board needs to listen and actually have a conversation and be able to answer questions when asked by their parents and community.
To your point, I was at I believe it was that meeting that we saw in the video. I asked them, I said, where's the volumes of complaints from parents and students that they weren't being treated fairly or being treated equally? And of course, they couldn't answer that question at all. But then I asked, well, where did this information come that we need to address this issue that doesn't seem to be here? You're creating victims when there are no victims.
Spot on.
And they didn't answer again.
No, and this is where transparency comes in. I did a little research in the Department of Education website. In 2018, they did a survey and they published this demographic information of Las Cruces. Las Cruces is 60% Hispanic, 30% Anglo-American, 3% African American, and 1% each of the other nationalities. Mm-hmm. To your point, there is no issue here. No. They're creating something that doesn't exist in Las Cruces.
I think they've been told by their higher-ups, whoever's handling them, whether it's the school teachers union or politicians or whatever it is, but they're being told that you have to push this critical race theory, and it's a mess. It's only dividing our students.
It is.
Well, we're getting close to the end of the show. Eloy, would you like to say anything else to the folks? I mean, your name and information has been put up on the screen as we speak, but anything else in closing that you'd like to say?
No, I appreciate that, Dave. So just really quick to the community members. I hope my message resonates and you're able to see why I'm passionate about this subject. I encourage you to learn more about me. Please visit my website, www.macha for LCPS, MACHA, the number 4, LCPS.net. Please read about my background. I'm going to be putting a lot more content in the coming weeks to help us understand all of the relevant issues here to Las Cruces Public Schools and what we need to do to solve and encourage our students to be successful in the future. And one last item, if you don't mind, Dave, just really quick. I'm always reminded by a quote from Albert Einstein where he says, insanity is defined as wanting different outcomes, but yet doing the same thing over and over and over again. So, folks, I would encourage you to support me. I'll be your voice to ensure that our students are served best by the school board. Thank you, Dave.
Eloy Francisco Macha for Las Cruces Public School, District 3. Make sure you vote for Eloy. See you next week, folks.